to the channel. I'm so glad you guys came back to see me for yet another video. So I have on my cozy clothes because I'm making another cozy meal today. I'm making gumbo. So this is my second time making gumbo. I made it once before and it did not come out good at all. So second time was a charm. They say third time's a charm, but your girl only needed 2 tries. So it came out really good, and I'm very eager to show this video to you guys and see what you think of how I made my gumbo. If you're from Louisiana, shout out to you. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Don't judge me too hard, y'all. I'm sensitive. But anyways, this video is inspired by a good friend of mine. I took a lot of my inspiration from him. You know who you are. So with that being said, let's get to cooking. Alright guys, so I have all of my ingredients laid out nicely here. And we're going to start off with our Holy Trinity. Onions, celery, and bell pepper. I used 1 large yellow onion, 3 stalks of celery, and 1 large green bell pepper. Diced that up into small cubes. I used 4 minced garlic cloves. This is about 2 tablespoons of dried thyme. I'll also use some Creole seasoning. I use Tony's Creole seasoning, but feel free to use whichever kind of seasoning you like, whatever brand you like. And if you can make it on your own, go ahead and do that too. So salt to your taste, and also cayenne pepper, because you know me, I like my spice. If you don't like spice, don't do it. All-purpose flour and some vegetable oil. It was 1 cup of all-purpose flour and half a cup of vegetable oil. And we're going to pepper to your taste. So back here I have 2 cartons of chicken stock. That's about roughly 4 cups in each of those, so about 8 cups of chicken stock you'll need. I have my shrimp here, peeled and deveined, ready to go. I also used 1 can of diced tomatoes. Usually we use fire roasted tomatoes, but unfortunately it wasn't available in the store, so I had to go ahead with the regular diced tomatoes, which is fine. I have some fresh parsley here. Dried is fine. I prefer fresh though. Andouille sausage. You can't have a Creole meal without your andouille sausage. I like it because it's full of great spices and it's going to flavor my gumbo very well. Dice that up. You can use turkey sausage as well. I have my crab claws here. These are Dungeness crab claws. You don't necessarily have to use those. You can use snow crab. That works just fine. And I have 4 boneless, skinless chicken thighs. I like boneless, skinless, but if you prefer breast, go right on ahead and do that. So with that being said, let's move right along. Alright, so now it's time to go ahead and season this chicken up. So we're going to season both sides of the chicken. We're going to start by using the Tony's Creole seasoning that I was using earlier. You can use whatever Creole seasoning you like, but make sure it's Creole seasoning though, because it's really going to give it that spicy kick that it needs. Also some salt and pepper. That is always to your taste, but add that, as well as garlic powder and onion powder. We're going to flip those over and do the exact same thing on the other side. So you can honestly use just chicken for this recipe if that is all you have. What I've kind of learned when I've learned to cook this was that the recipe is definitely customizable to whatever you want to make it into. So if you want to stop here at just chicken, you can stop here at chicken. If you want to do just seafood, that works out as well. But I threw everything but the kitchen sink into this pot of gumbo, and it still turned out really good. But just keep that in mind when you're making it though. Alright? Also, you may wonder, why is there no okra in this? Well, it's because I don't like it. That's why. Alright, so with that being said, let's go ahead and get started with the sausage. So the sausage, I put like about 2 tablespoons of olive oil in the bottom of the pan, heated it up to a medium-high heat, not a pan, a pot, and heated it up into about a medium-high heat. I want to char the sausage a bit, and I also want to leave like that brown bits in the bottom of the pan. I'll tell you why in a minute. But we're just going to cook those up, brown those up a little bit. We don't have to fully cook it, but you see that it's leaving that brown residue in the bottom of the pot. That's what I'm looking for, because that's going to add a little bit of extra flavor to my roux when I get ready to make that. So go ahead, remove all of that out of the pot, and we'll set that aside for later. And we're going to add that back in towards the end of the recipe and finish cooking the rest of the way. So now we're going to get started on this roux. I went on ahead and added in my 1/2 cup of vegetable oil, and I slowly incorporated the all-purpose flour into the vegetable oil while kind of scraping up the bottom of the pot as it heats up. So I have my heat right now at a medium, and I'm gonna turn it down to a low heat. The thing about this roux is that it takes time and patience. You're gonna have to have a lot of patience when making this roux. I'm telling you, it took me about 45 minutes, no lie, to make this. So I slowly but surely just added in the flour little by little and waited until it was kind of all mixed in, making sure there weren't any clumps in the roux as well. So just slowly mixing it in and making sure you keep your heat low, because if not, you're gonna burn it and you're gonna have to start over. I've learned this lesson the hard way. So patience, go ahead and set yourself up and be prepared to stir, 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 and stir, because you're gonna be doing this for a minute. But I had patience on this day because I wanted to perfect this for you guys. So little by little, I added in the flour, and as time passes on, you're gonna see it gradually get darker and darker. Now, is there an easier way to do this? I'm pretty sure there is, but my resources where I live are kind of scarce, so I had to do it the old-fashioned way, stovetop with a whisk, and that's it. So in a few, you're going to see how dark I get. Now, how dark do you want it? That's up to you. The darker it gets, the more flavor you're going to have in your roux. That's what you want, right? You want that flavor. Now, I've seen some roux that is way darker than mine, but what I went for was kind of like a milk chocolate kind of color, not too dark, but I like the milk chocolate color myself, almost to that really dark color that you see a lot of experienced gumbo makers make. So here we have my roux here. As you can tell, I can scrape the pot. It's not sticking at the bottom of the pot when I scrape it. So that is a very good sign. Y'all, I'm so proud of myself for doing this because it was very tedious. So I'm really happy with how this turned out. So after a while, after 45 minutes, I was like, okay, I think that's enough, because I was scared I was gonna burn it. So when you're making your roux, make sure you have a little bit of patience and some time set aside to do that, because if you perfect that, you're well on your way to having a good batch of gumbo. Okay, so now I have my heat back up to a medium. We still don't want to burn this roux, and we're going to go ahead and add in our Holy Trinity, our onions, bell pepper, and celery. So we're going to cook those until they are nice and tender. You want to sweat those out a bit, and guys, you know now your house is about to smell so good. So mix it around, and even as I'm doing this, my roux is still getting kind of darker, which I like. I was pleasantly surprised by that, so I'm really happy about that. I definitely did that on purpose. So now that we've softened up our vegetables, we're going to go ahead and add in our garlic. I added in, that was about 3 to 4 cloves of garlic, and I minced that up as well. We'll go ahead and mix that into the pot, and I did that because you don't want your garlic to burn. So I don't usually like to go ahead and put it into just plain oil, because it'll cook so fast and it'll burn, and it'll change the flavor of your dish, trust me. So continue to mix that up, making sure that your vegetables are softened and your roux is still getting darkened. And then we're going to go ahead and add in our
diced tomatoes with the juice in the can. I like it with the juice. If you want to drain it, go right on ahead. But we're just going to mix that all into the roux and then get started with our chicken stock. So I use, like I said before, I use 2 cartons of chicken stock. That's equivalent to about 8 cups of chicken stock. So I don't think you should need any more than that unless you're feeding a larger group of people. Go ahead and add that and then give that a stir. Mix it all in together, and then we're going to get ready to add in our seasonings. So I'm going to start off with adding my Creole seasoning. We're also going to add in the cayenne pepper. Now, you can skip the cayenne pepper if you do not like it to be too spicy. My family loves spicy food, so I add cayenne pepper into everything. Also, I'm going to add some black pepper and salt, or thyme as well. And I'm going to add the parsley as well. I'm not going to use all of the parsley. I'm going to leave some to use as a, what they call it, topping at the end. So once you have all your seasonings in the pot, you can go ahead and mix all of that in well. We're going to cover it and let it come to a simmer at medium heat. Go ahead and stir that, and at this point we're going to go ahead and add the chicken. So I failed to mention earlier that the chicken that I seasoned earlier, I put in the oven. I baked it at 375 Fahrenheit for about 30 minutes at maximum, and I just chopped it up into bite-sized pieces. Feel free to cook your chicken however way you like. If you want to cook it stovetop and your cast iron, if you want to cook it on a grill, whichever way you like. But I felt like the oven, or rotisserie chicken, if you can get your hands on rotisserie chicken, that would be even better. But obviously I couldn't get that, so I baked it. I went on ahead and added in the sausage that we had cooked earlier, and we're going to also go ahead and spoon in our shrimp. I make sure I do the shrimp and the crab legs towards the end because they need the very least amount of time to cook. Shrimp cooks very fast, and I don't know about you, but I don't like rubbery shrimp. So I cook those towards the end. So I'm going to go ahead and add in my crab claws. So the crab claws that I bought were already pre-steamed, and all I had to do was reheat them, which was incredibly helpful, and it did not take long for me to reheat those. We're going to go ahead and add in all of that, and then we're going to let it cook down. We're going to cover it and let it cook for, I say, about another 10 to 15 minutes, or until your shrimp is nice and pink, no longer translucent. And my friends, it will be time to eat. Alright, so go ahead and grab yourself a bowl. I got really fancy with my rice and added a nice mound of rice in the center of my bowl and just drowned it in my yummy, good gumbo. So thank you guys so much for checking out this video today. I hope you really enjoyed it, and I hope you give it a try. I really worked really hard on it, and if you do try it, let me know how you like it. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell so that you'll be notified every single time I upload a new video. So until next time, bye you guys.